I'll put my water down there in case. No, I need it up here.
All right, everyone. Welcome once again. It is Friday, and of course, we are live again with the Manufacturing E-Commerce Success. Can't even talk. I was laughing so hard before we got on. And my friend and co-host, Kurt Anderson over there, it doesn't look like he's broadcasting from his normal location. In fact, Kurt's got some guests with him today that I'm going to let him introduce, and we're going to get going here. And I want to just, first of all, welcome everyone. Welcome, Kurt. Let us know what the heck is going on.
Man, I'm trying to figure that out myself here, Damon. So happy Friday. Happy Lucky Friday to you, dude. So, hey, happy
Dan
Friday.
Bigger, right
man.
on time.
Holy cowser, right on time. So, Dan, we did that just for you, dude. So, all right. Happy Friday, everybody. This is going to be a great conversation. This is my honor and privilege and introduce my besties here. So I've got Damon. We like baseball just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. So we have a gentleman from Netherlands. So I'm not sure he might not get my bad baseball jokes, but we'll see how that goes, Fran. So
I didn't get them either.
Yeah, she doesn't. Julie doesn't get them. Yeah. So yeah, we've got. All right, let's start down on this end. Okay, so let's go with my dear friend Luis. He's a repeat offender on the program. So, Dr. Luis, happy Friday. How are you, dude?
I am doing fantastic, Kurt. Thank you for having me.
So, hey, I've been practicing this all since January. Velasquez, right?
No,
Velasquez. Kez. I see. I even butchered that, Damon. So, all right, we've got Tina Marie St.Cyr, right? Tina Marie, happy Friday. How are you? She's rooting for the Astros, right? Where they're going to take it in 3, 4?
No, that's okay.
We have Dr. Julia Phelan good sitting right here. So
hello, nice to be here. Also a repeat offender. I think maybe a twice repeat offender.
We have several repeat offenders right here.
Yes, we do.
So then we're going to introduce my dear friend Franz. Franz, happy Friday.
Thanks, and wonderful to be here. What a big surprise!
This is awesome. So, hey, we're in the Big Apple today, Damon. So this is awesome. Hey, I see we've got some friends dropping notes. Let us know that you're out there. Drop a big hello. We have a dynamic conversation going. So we're going to go around the horn, a little baseball expression. We're going to go around the horn, and I'm just going to give a shout out. Like, what does everybody do here? So, Luis, how do you make the world a better place? Just give us your superpowers. What are you doing?
Well, according to my child, my superpower is the superpower. Cook. I cook well. So I think that I make a better world by just making food for my kids, so they can grow to be humble, to be kind, to be resilient, and better people. So that's my goal. That's what I do. Is I try to grow humans that are resilient and kind and strong.
Wow.
On my free time.
He's also a very excellent executive coach.
On my free time, I do executive coaching, and I coach usually executives that are highly valuable in organizations. Sometimes organizations cannot afford to lose, but they are difficult to work with.
Damon, that's kind of how you describe me, right? Difficult to work with, right? So that's why I'm with Luis. I'm trying to work on that.
So I was just wondering if you're subtly giving me a hint there, Kurt.
That's why I brought these guys in. Like, Damon, this is an intervention, Damon. So sorry, just you're just finding out the hard way. So anyway, all right. So we'll dig in. So Luis, amazing, incredible family man, just a great inspiration, wonderful father, and so a couple other things that we're going to talk about. He was in Dory Clark's book. Remember when he was on the program last time, we talked about how he was featured in Dory Clark's book. So we might hit that up. That's how this guy came on my radar. So Tina Marie, my friend, how do you make the world a better place?
Well, recently I started with stand-up comedy, so we'll see where that goes if I don't bomb, right? But I love working with business owners that have teams and they want to create a culture of collaboration and put humans first so that they have an emotional quotient for all the work that they do. It's not just about economics, it's about the emotions, and it's about people being happy where they are and feeling purposeful in what they do. And it starts with a business owner, knowing that they control the culture and bring the team around that. So I love working with teams.
And the name of your coaching business, please?
Bonfire Coaching.
Bonfire Coaching, Damon. Remember, do you remember, speaking of fire, remember the chat box when Tina Marie was on last time? Like she kind of blew it up. It
was on fire.
Yeah, I think she broke a record. So, all right, let's come over to Dr. Julia Feeling Good. All right. So Dr. Julia, she's the Chief Learning Officer at ToEleven. And let's just, Julia, how do you make the world a better place?
Oh my goodness, where do I even start? I make the world a better place by helping people teach things better and learn things better. So, organizations spend a ton of money pumped into learning and development programs, but is it really the right stuff? Is it really working? How do we know that? So I help organizations figure that out and help them better meet their goals that they want to meet by improving and optimizing their learning.
Perfect. And she has like a wonderful little 3-step program. She was on our jam session last month. So guys, you can go on our website, check out Dr. Julia Feeling Good. She's got all sorts of powerful tips and strategies to help learn and how to help teach, especially our manufacturing friends out there, how to teach processes. Franz, my friend, you crossed the pond to hang out with us for this little weekend here in New York City. How do you make the world a better place?
Well, it started at home. I'm married to Caroline, an entrepreneur, and we have 4 kids. And that someday, I did wake up and I felt like I have to buy a new house because the house is so full with stuff. We have to move. Then I realized that at home we have 5 collectors. We have 5 people who are only bringing new stuff day after day. So I started to think, we need someone who's offloading, who gets rid of stuff. So that's basically where it started. So I was the only one who was removing stuff. And that's now what I'm doing as a professional. I'll help organizations and teams who are also nonstop adding new things. I help them to start offload because that's something we are not that good at. That's basically what I'm doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Another drop the mic there, David, just to give you right. That was so. All right. That's so. Franz is going to have to be back on the program again. So he's the only non-offender here out of this motley crew. Right? Yeah. So we'll have to have him back on. What do you think?
I feel you, Franz, because that's my house. It's my house. I mean, I'm the one that we have a collection area in our garage that this is going to the donation center. It's permanent collection center area in the garage. Yeah.
All right. So Damon, so let's dig in. The topic today is like how to light that fire. Okay. How do you light that fire inside of you? Right. And so these guys are all coaches and they work with high level folks. And so Luis, I want to start with you. We had a great conversation last night. And so you threw out a tagline. I'm just blatantly stealing it from you. So he was talking about how like certain things in life they're really simple, but they're just not easy. It's simple to like eat healthy, but it's not always easy. It's like simple to think about it. It's simple to exercise, but you've got to like take that next step. So let's go here. When you're coaching with folks, I call you like you're the blind spot remover, right? Like you deal with difficult folks, and how do you remove that blind spot? What are some tips, strategies that you could that you use with your clients or somebody out there could like? How could they make things that are a little simpler and maybe easy?
I think that for me, the most important thing to understand is what is their motivation, because that's the fire that will make things move forward. Because it's not easy. It requires that sometimes we make some sacrifices, and it requires that we have to make some concessions, and a lot of times those are difficult to make. Unless we have a really strong motivation, intrinsic motivation that pushes into be uncomfortable. So I'll give you an example. Have a CEO that he was a micromanager, and he did not want to change. Is what I'm saying. He didn't want to change. And one day we were talking, and I told him, you're a founder, and as a founder, you're going to be here forever. As a CEO, this is going to be temporary. Whether you stay here for a long time or you're kicked out, it's temporary. So the question for you is, how long do you want to be the CEO of the company? I said, well, I want to be here for a long time. I want to be the manager that everybody wants to have. What he said, that I use that as a motivation. Okay, so if you want to be the manager that everybody wants to have, and you want to be here for a long time, you need to change certain things about you. And that is what propelled him to be uncomfortable, because he didn't want to lose the company that he founded. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I think that it's not about what do you do, but why are you doing it is the most important part.
You tapped into his fuel.
Yeah.
All right, let's just savor that one for a minute.
Just gotta sit here for a second.
It's right. Simple, not easy. It's focusing on the why, right? It's focusing on the why. I love that. All right, Tina Marie. Bonfire Coaching right here, man. This woman's on fire.
Yep.
She's doing a little comedy bit tomorrow. So you incorporate comedy with your coaching. You do high-level executives. You have a mastermind, all sorts of things that you're helping people. What are some things that you love to apply that's going to ignite that fire with your clients?
Well, going back to it may be simple but not easy.
Yeah.
What I love that you shared, Luis, is that you're finding the fuel. Where's someone's inherent fuel source that they can tap into and sustain even through the hard times, right? Where that challenge is. For me this year, I have focused on habits, looking at the simple habits and restructuring those. And it may seem like common sense or rote that we're supposed to do it this way. It's not easy, because if we need to first look inside of ourselves and see, what do we truly want to create? And then where are we our own obstacle in that? And there's this amazing book, if you have not read it or put it on your book list, it's Atomic Habits by James Clear. Amazing book. I think I highlighted the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's now a yellow book inside. And what two things that I said, I'm going to pick up two of his, strategies inside and apply it this year. And it has changed my life, my business, and even my relationships. I set the room. So setting the room means that you put things back in an order, the way that you want it to be optimally ordered. And why that can change and make things easier is because you're putting that effort in, and it's not like you're letting things pile up. You're handling it in the moment. And you could do that with your thoughts, handle it in the moment. If you've got worry, if you've got frustration, if you've got anxiety, learn strategies to handle it in the moment as opposed to letting it stack. For me, making the bed every day. We've seen the YouTube videos on why that's important. It totally works. Taking my vitamins every day. Another one of his strategies is that you put things in a place where it's easy. It's in front of you. You can't miss it. And then if you do, you've got guilt. So guilt can be a motivator, right? And so the vitamins every day, right by the toaster, right by the coffee maker. I'm not going to have a pot of coffee until I have my. So these things, how does that transfer into business? Do the things every day that are small that add up to energy, because that energy, whenever you alleviate your worry and your frustration, your guilt, it's going to value that energy that you're going to make progress with. And so small decisions done repeatedly over time build greater habits. You believe in yourself. You have confidence. When you have confidence, you're a different person. You're easier to get along with. And then your goals become a fuel source that you can put that fuel into. So my strategy here is do things habitually, read the book, do things habitually, and then do simple things every day, because you'll feel better about yourself and you'll have that fuel to put into things that matter.
Another one.
Yeah. Another moment of silence right there. So.
And the thing that I think a lot of people get hung up in, like, especially, I always love this, the New Year's resolutions, when people are going to go, oh, I'm going to work out, right? I'm going to go to the gym. I've got this whole thing. So you see them and they go to the gym and they think they have to do every exercise under the sun because they're going to the gym, right? And we think when we change a habit that we've got to go all in right away, rather than make little tiny changes that are like, okay, maybe I'm going to put my gym clothes on today and I'm going to walk to my mailbox and back or something like that. I'm not even going to the gym yet. And then the next day, maybe I walk a little more. And then maybe 3 weeks from then I've walked enough. So maybe it's time for me to start going to the gym, and I do one exercise at the gym. Because when you do these big chunks like this, it's too big of a change too fast. That's my experience with that, but that's great stuff. These habits, they just little, and putting them together, like you said, is so key.
The biggest thing is to keep your word to yourself, because we lie to ourselves more than anybody else will. And if you just keep your word to yourself every day, before you put your head on the pillow, look over your day, go, did I keep my word to myself? And then apologize to yourself if you didn't. Keep your word to yourself tomorrow. And I love that, Damon. One thing, little thing, put your gym clothes on, take a walk around the block, do something simple. Working out for 1 minute is still working out.
Yep.
Man. All right. So good. Damon, I told you this is going to be a powerhouse. So, all right, guys, if you're just joining us, drop us a note. Let us know that you're here. Give a big hello to our esteemed panel here today. This is, we're just trying to light the fire under you and help you set your goals and hit your goals. We've talked about, Luis just dropped and talked about the why. We're now talking about just, go out and get that book, Atomic Habits. It's a fantastic book. So let's come over to my friend, Dr. Julia. So Damon, she traveled all the way from Malibu just to hang out here with us in New York City, man. How about that one, huh? So Dr. Julia, and does she looks striking today, doesn't she? Gosh, she looks amazing. So, all right. So you are the Chief Learning Officer. And the big thing for I found is like a great way to help people learn things is bring a passion, right? Bring something with a fire. If we come in very kind of like humdrum or it's boring, it's hard to light that fire. How do you encourage like folks or companies, organizations you work, like, how do you light that fire to get that learning point across?
I think there's a whole bunch of things, and I think a few things that have been touched on, in terms of, what's motivating people to, what is something that is going to speak to them. You could look at two people. You could be teaching something or in some kind of workshop, and they both could be looking at you with this kind of blank stare, but underneath that could be completely different things, right? One of them could be thinking, oh, I don't think this trainer person likes me, keeps giving me a side eye, and I don't know. And another person could be thinking, oh, last time I was in one of these things, it was just such a drag, and I didn't get anything out of it. But you as the training deliverer person, you have no idea what's behind that. So one aspect of when we are teaching more effectively is really trying to figure out how can we diagnose some of those motivational hurdles potentially and figure out how to overcome them, how to help people see like, hey, you can do this, or there isn't something in your way. Or if somebody is in a negative emotional state, it's really difficult to get them to learn anything because all of the space in their brain is filled up with thinking about something else. And last time I was on, we talked a little bit about that first day of school, first day of work idea, and it's very similar, right? That you think that you show up for your first day at work on a new job, for example, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that could go wrong there that would cause you to disengage, to switch off, to not have that fire lit inside of you. And so, I think it's all about thinking about, and again, connecting to what Tina Marie was saying, these small things that are all going to make a really big impact. And, if you can make people feel welcome when they first arrive in a new place, if you can help them see that, yeah, they do belong there, they are a fit for that place. People believe in them, people are expecting them to be there, and then giving them things to do that can give them some small wins, right? That it's not just, okay, my husband years ago, his friend of his was writing his dissertation, and he would write every day on his to-do list, write dissertation, right? Well, you've written a dissertation. It doesn't that's not a great list. And so every day my husband will call him and he'd say, what are you doing today? He's like, oh, I got to go buy some pants. And he's like, what? He's like, well, I got on my list, I've got write dissertation and I've got buy pants. So that's hard. So I'm going to go buy some pants. Yeah. And so now it sort of became this sort of stand-in, like when I say to my husband, like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, I've been buying pants all day, And so the only way you can ever move forward on your write dissertation is you've got to say, okay, write the first line or write the first page or work on the first chapter or some smaller piece that you can actually achieve. And then you can feel some sense of satisfaction that you actually did it. If your goal is write dissertation, well, forget it. You'll never do it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So don't buy pants all the time,
man. So understand your why. Atomic Habits. Buy pants, right? That's all right. That's three. Don't. Or don't, right? Or don't buy pants. Either way, right? Buy them or don't buy them, right?
Chunk it down.
Chunk it down, right? Chunk it down. So.
Chunk it down.
Yeah, because the takeaway is like whatever the hard thing is, skip that and go to the buy pants.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We gotta break.
Or just make your buy pants thing something that has to do with your goal, right?
I'm buying pants because that way I'm getting prepared for my dissertation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, it's just you see people just swirl in this toilet bowl of how am I going to get this done so much? If they would just stop the swirling and go, I'm going to take step 0.001 and start.
Right.
And then I'm going to go 0.002 after that. Right. Pretty soon they're halfway done and they don't even realize it.
That's right.
Yeah, one step at a time.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
just
awesome.
You just climbed a Space Needle. What was that, last weekend?
2 weekends ago, but yes.
2 weekends ago.
One step, that's all I did. I just said, man,
One
just
step
keep
at
the
a
feet
time.
moving.
Right?
Keep the
A
feet
little
moving.
fundraiser, so you climb right up 9 minutes. Great. God bless you, dude. So, all right, let's come over to Franz. Franz, yeah, are you going to top these guys, or really, what do you got? What do you got for us? How do you ignite your folks?
I'm Dutch, no.
He's adding to it. Adding.
No, but you know what? One thing I like to add is, so imagine, Kurt, that you are owner of a supermarket. And one day you enter the supermarket, and in front of the supermarket, there's a very nice, empathic woman. And she has a product with her. And it's a drink from the Fiji Island. And as we all know, in the Fiji Island, people live longer than anywhere on the planet. So you think, I must sell this product. No way, I have to get this product. There's only one issue, your shelf space is just covered with products. There is no free space. So what do? You decide to remove a product from the shelf because you think, I'm going to sell this product because it's going to be a bestseller. So what does it mean? We all are facing new stuff every time, but what we forget to do is, if we want to bring in something new, we have to remove something. So I call this the shelf space principle. So anytime you consider bringing a new thing to whatever you're doing, think about, what am I going to remove from my shelf space? That's what I want to add to this great story of the people in this room.
Pure gold. I have a rule in my closet. I only have 32 pieces of clothing. That's it. Why 32? I have no idea. I don't know where I come up with that. But in order for me to introduce something new to my closet, I remove something else. And I've been doing this for years. So I only have 32 pieces of clothing. That's it. And that's helpful, because now my closet never gets so packed up with a bunch of stuff. But here's what I notice, the trend here, like, if you think about this, thinking about the strategy. And I think that it starts with, what do you want to be? So if I want to be a marathoner, that's the ideal goal, the marathoner. Then that's the mindset, the identity. Then it comes down to the learning. Okay, I need to learn how to run. Optimize your learning. I need to learn certain skills that will allow me to do some running. Then it comes down to the habits. Okay, I'm gonna get up every morning. I'm gonna put my my clothes right there so I can see them. But at the same time, I need to also prioritize what I need to let go of. So if you think about that, that is a strategy. In order for you to become a marathoner, you need to learn how to run. You need to create habits that will sustain the run, and you need to prioritize what you want to do or not.
And you need to have a big why. Like, why would you want to be a marathoner?
Right? I want to improve my health.
And I think another really key thing in all of that, and I love that, Louise, that sort of package of things, is you also need somebody to help you get better, right? Because if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, then either we're possibly doing the wrong thing, right? And we've got the wrong running strategy or the wrong running technique, and we're just kind of rehearsing that over and over. So we need someone else to be giving us feedback on what we're doing. And if we're not doing it right, to course correct that. And that's a really, really incredibly important piece of any kind of learning experience. Is you can't just do it on your own. You need someone else who has expertise to be helping you see, okay, yeah, that's good, but don't keep doing that. If you're practicing your basketball throw and you're not doing it the right way, you're just going to keep getting better at the bad thing. So we want people to be getting better at the good things. So they need some expert input from a coach, and some feedback is a really key piece of that recipe.
Yeah. We used to talk about that all the time in baseball. I used to be part of a baseball club. And if you need the coaches to help you to learn how to practice the right way, because then you're practicing the right way.
Right.
And it's not, you're just practicing to be practicing.
Right.
It's a great point. Great point.
Yeah, it goes back to the idea of, it is simple, but it's not easy. I mean, there are so many people that are smokers, and they know that smoking is bad for them. And you can say, all you have to do is stop smoking. That is so simple. Right. It's not easy. Right. And that's where, that's when you need help. Yeah.
Right. And I believe it takes being humble and courageous, because in order to get better, like Julia is saying, is we need to face where we are right now, and that we need to move aside that thinking that we're not good enough, or that if we compare ourselves to anybody else, we just simply need to start and be willing to be humble that we need to learn. And once we are open to learning, then we can improve. I liken it to the Etch-a-Sketch. Who here is old enough to remember Etch-a-Sketch? So you put the picture tediously onto the Etch-a-Sketch and have some pride in it and gingerly show your parents without shaking it. But there comes a time where we need to shake the Etch-a-Sketch and be willing to learn and see a whole new picture. But without that, then we wouldn't be vulnerable so that we can learn. Even if we want to be a marathoner, like me going into comedy, it was on my bucket list for 30 plus years. And I just got tired of saying, I want to do that someday. And finally I said, I'm just going to do it. And so even if I bomb, it's okay. Because the main thing is the big check mark that I kept my word to myself and I'm doing it.
Right.
And that's what learning is about, is being willing to be vulnerable and courageous in that.
Right. I absolutely love that. And so let's hit on humility. That's where I wanted to go next. So I'm going to come over to you, Franz. So humility, when you're working with a coach, like you just said, to get into coaching, or, that you need a coach, right? And so when you're working with your folks, like any tips, advice of like, when do you know that you need help? When do you know that it's time to it takes a village to raise a business, right? Raise a child, organization, what have you. What are some tips that you work with when you work with your executive coaches on humility to take on coaching, or when you need to raise your hand for help?
I think often it's not that people are looking for help, but they just want some reflection. First they start someone to talk to, and then then often you see that they are realizing, I could use some help. For a lot of people, it's much easier to experience it and then get into it than really to think upfront, we need some help. Another thing that at least I encounter very often is also based on what all of you just said, that people are extremely talented in creating needless complexity. We can start with a small idea and we can immediately think of a few other things. And then I ask Julia, what do you think? I have two more things. I ask Tina Maria. Yeah. And I ended up with 12 things on a very simple thing. And then also I think, oh my gosh, this is way too complex. Yeah. And that's also when people start to think, oh, I need some help.
Yeah. Needless complexity. Can you add to that?
Well, yeah.
That's hysterical, right? How many, who's guilty of needless complexity, right? Let's make this as complicated as possible, right? If it's complicated, it must be good because nobody else will do it. Well, nobody's going to do it because it's too complex.
Right.
How do you help your folks navigate that?
Well, to me, what comes to mind with that is figuring out, I've talked to you a little bit about this idea of, the expert blind spot and how it's really difficult for people to teach things to other people when they are themselves experts, because they've got such a deep level of expertise and this, unconscious competence that when they come to talk to a novice, it's very difficult for them to figure out, how can I break what I already have in my head down to these more simple steps. And that's a really, really, really important point, because again, back to thinking about motivation, if you're a learner and you're trying to learn something from someone who has glossed over all of the introductory foundational stuff, you're just completely lost. And this person could be the biggest genius on earth, but it doesn't matter to you because you're just still stuck back at, what did he say this is called? Yeah. And so it's, when we think about simplification in learning, what we're really thinking about is, again, back to that, it all comes back to the steps too, is if you're teaching someone something, you have to figure out what's their prior knowledge, where are they at in their particular journey, and how can I meet them where they are to move them forward, and try and get past my own expertise and my own blind spots and figure out, I need to make sure that I'm not using terminology that other people don't understand. I'm not using jargon. I'm not, skipping over things that to me feel automatic, because it's like driving a car. The first time you do it, right, it's really difficult. And you're like, where's the signal and where's all the pieces? But nowadays you get in your car and you just drive it. You don't think about it, right? So you have to remember, what was it like to be that new person? What was it like to be the kid the first day getting into the car thinking, oh shit, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
So it's really embracing that, because then you can put yourself in the shoes of that new person.
Right. Needless complexity. How are we doing on time? All right, we got plenty of time. And I'm gonna go here. Go ahead, Damon.
Do we have any chats?
Well, and when you do that, it is so, you have to be really knowledgeable to explain complex things to a third grader.
Yes.
And I always
Amen.
like to think about the third grader, right? Because
Yep.
if I can explain something that simply, first of all, I might be able to understand it. But second of all, then it really helps everyone. Like you said, you can help everyone start from the same place. Even people that are at different levels, if you start at that level and work your way up, then everyone has that base understanding. And I think in business, a lot of times I see that people are starting here where they really should start everyone here. Even if you've got people all along the spectrum, start everyone here. And yes, I might be a little bit bored at the beginning, but as we work through, then everyone has that consistent understanding on whatever you're trying to accomplish.
And you give them a little bit of rehearsal and refreshment too, or refresher, those people. So even if they already know it, it's like, hey, wouldn't hurt to hear it again anyway for those folks. Yeah.
I like to add one thing also to Atomic Habit, because I think, and maybe that's Dutch, but I think it's hilarious that people are looking for a personal coach for exercising, for physical stuff, because it's the same with Atomic Habit. You only need one small thing to start doing, but so why is that so difficult? And then why are so many people using a personal coach for physical exercises? I mean, I think it's insane. I mean, read the Atomic Habit book, listen to these kind of things, and you can start.
Right. A lot of it's the accountability, right? Just, back to like your husband with his, with his buddy in the dissertation, it's just having that accountability. Let's go to inspiration for each other or ourselves as a team. Like what and who, I think I know your answer. What and who inspires you to, like that? Who lights the fire for you as you execute your career?
I think that my family is my children. And I don't consider this my career. I consider this a way of life, and I learn a lot from my children. And what I realize is that the same problems that my children have are the same problems that I see with executives. Be nice, wait your turn. Literally, wait your turn. Don't take it personal. It's the same things. The only difference is that the stakes are much higher and the ego gets in the way. So the inspiration that I get is literally from the struggles that my children have, and that's one. And the other one is, I think that many of us are misunderstood, and a lot of the clients that I work with have the best intentions in the world. They don't wake up in the morning saying, "I'm gonna be an a-hole today." They don't. Right. Nobody does. It's just that they either don't have the mindset, the skills, or the habits in order to have the impact that they want to have, and that's what I do.
All right. Great answer. Tina Marie, how about you? What inspires you? How do you light that fire as you carry your cause?
Thank you for that question. One thing I wanted to add to Luis, so eloquent. I love listening to him speak. And is that what I think is that you're helping people instill self-trust, because we lose our trust in ourselves whenever there's pain in our life, or when there's doubt, or we get some feedback from people, and unconsciously we take things personally, and then as we surface it, then we can work with it. It's trust. Trust is this beautiful energy that has us all lean into learning, doesn't it? Yeah. So what inspires me, my beautiful wife and family and my children, having a career is your passion and what you do and how you serve people. Yet I think reflecting each day to know that you did do good, because we can, have days that just stack on top of each other and go by, and we forget to connect and say, am I happy? Am I bringing joy to my life and others? And it takes those little moments just to still ourselves and reflect. And for me, I do that habitually in the morning, some gratitude exercises, but more than that, throughout the day. Like we're in NYC here. Right. And so we've met a lot of Uber drivers over the last couple of days, and lots of people. And so what I love to do is spend time doing my best to meet people eye to eye, especially strangers, because if we can see each other eye to eye, humans, it helps us feel connected at a different level. Right. But I'm in a city where I'm noticing nobody looks each other eye to eye. Right. And I'm like, wow, let's take some time there.
Right.
So to slow down eye to eye and celebrate your wins each day.
Well, love it. And trust and looking people in the eye, right? So, all right, this is fantastic. All right, how about Julia, what inspires you as you are building your cause at ToEleven?
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to say my husband and my family, but my husband is an educator and just the most amazingly gifted educator. And I learn so much from him every day. And he and I just geek out on stuff like this all the time. You know, we every time we go out, that's all we talk about. It's just learning and stuff like that. Yeah. So he's a great inspiration to me, and just, you know, seeing he teaches these huge classes at UCLA, like 300 plus students, and just to see the way he connects with them and engages with them. And lots of people would think, oh, it's such a negative being in a big class like that. But to have a teacher like him, and my middle son who's in college right now, he would always go to my husband's class, you know, when he was able to last year or the year before. And now he's in college himself. He says to him, he's like, Daddy, he says, you've just ruined me. He's like, because no one is as good as you.
That's awesome.
He's like, all these teachers, I mean, they're all smart and everything, but they're nowhere near as good at teaching as you are. So that makes him feel happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, all right, great answer, Franz. 4 kids. Who and what inspires you as you execute your cause on a daily basis?
Well, it will surprise you, but it's as well the family. Yeah. But I have one group to add with. But you know, it's so funny. I have 3 daughters and a son. And one of my daughters, I don't recall when it was. She asked me, I mean, what are you really doing for work? and then I said, I think she was maybe like 10 or 11. And I said, well, you know, I go out and I talk to a lot of people. She was silent. I was looking at me, but you can't talk to us all day, so you don't have to go out anymore. And then it starts you to really make this kind of questions. They really trigger you. I mean, they're right. What am I doing? You know. So I love this kind of questions from kids, and also from my wife. But another source also for me is that I think we all have the same experience. Sometimes you run by coincidence into a person on a day in any place, and for whatever reason you get in a conversation. Often these are incredible, also inspiring conversations, because you didn't know it was going to happen. You have no clue who is in front of you. You have no clue what you're going to talk about, but it's always, with a rare exception, is an incredible source of inspiration. People you don't know, and probably you're never ever going to meet again. So that's also something I really like.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. All right. What inspires me, man? So Damon, you know, my daughter, my wife, these guys here, you know, so it's, you know, I don't mean to be cliche, but it's just, you know, I'm very passionate about what I do. And it's just, you know, helping people, you know, it's like when you get those wins and you just, you know, you get, you know, it feels good when you get the email or the text, like, hey, this was awesome. Thank you. So on and so forth. Then you just love that. But I think when you pour your heart and soul into people and you get that, you know, like, you know, people are like, man, sometimes I feel like you care about my business more than I do. You know, it's like, you know, it's just like, you're just laying it on the table, man. It's like I feel an obligation to, you know, like exhaust my God-given whatever I have on a daily basis. And if I don't, it's like, shame on me, you know? So Damon, how about you? Who and what inspires you, brother?
Well, you know, it's similar to a lot of people there, my family, you know, that's what, keeps me trying to be a better person, I think, a lot of the time, because, you know, you really can see it in your life. It's so immediate around you when you're become a better person, how that affects your life and your family and that. But, you know, I guess when you break my dharma down really into the whole thing, it is, you know, to leave everybody that I touch with a positive feeling about me, whether they agree with me or not. But that's what I try to do in my business work, helping owners grow their businesses and sell them. But it's really about that, leaving that positive impact for people, and just knowing in that passion. You talked about passion and desire and drive and all that. The desire to do as much as that is, or my thing as I can in my life, is what drives me every day for my family and for everyone. It just wakes me up in the middle of the night, not in a bad way, just in the good way. It's like, I got to do this. That's the thing.
Absolutely. So, all right. So we're going to start, I know, we got a couple more minutes. We're going to start winding down here. But because we got a few more minutes, so I'm going to go, I've got one more question. That I want.
There we go.
Damon, any comments that you want to pull up?
Dan pulled this one up about people not look that someone said something about walking around, man. Yeah. That's for sure, Dan. I freak people out all the time. Who's this big dude walking down the street with his dog, smiling and saying hello, or singing and dancing? That's the other.
God forbid you say hi to people, right?
Right.
But Damon, as you're going through, so again, guys, we're gonna start winding down. But if you missed anything, man, it's been pure gold with just like great. We talked about your why, like what's your cause, what do you dedicating yourself. We've talked about habits. We've talked about making things simple. Not easy. One thing about being simple and easy is like, Tina Marie was talking about that humility. And, like if you could, if you could live a life of like just being focused on humility and gratitude, like, it eliminates the stress, eliminates the worry, eliminates a lot, but boy, it's just not easy. Right. So you were talking about coaching, right? Mm-hmm. And so let's go here. So we're here together for a little coaching weekend, if you will. And so, iron sharpens iron. Damon, I'm never the smartest guy in the room, or right this minute, I am definitely like at the low end of the totem pole. I've got Dr. Luis here. So Dr. Luis, let's go. So, back to humility, dude, you have a PhD, you're extremely accomplished. My respect and admiration for you off the charts. You came on my radar. You were in Dory Clark's book and The Long Game, and you have such an incredible story. If you're comfortable, I know you're a humble guy, if you don't mind me sharing. So you had a brain tumor, right? And so Damon, you know what this guy does? If you get diagnosed with a brain tumor, what do? The day you get diagnosed in a brain tumor, you're in Chicago. And so when you're standing in Chicago and the Chicago Marathon is going on, you say, I'm going to run that marathon next year. That's what you're supposed to do when you get a brain tumor, right? Is that like who doesn't do that, right?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about like when you were diagnosed, what inspired you to like how do you even go there, dude? Like, how did you think like I'm going to run this marathon? And what did you call your marathon training? Can you share that?
Yeah. So I got diagnosed. I went to the marathon just to get my mind off the situation that I was in.
Yeah.
And as I was looking at all these runners, we stayed there for a long time. There was a bunch of people at the very end, the end of the runners, that they were coming in, like 5.5 hours, 6 hours. Mm-hmm. And all of them had little signs in their back saying, like brain tumor survivor or domestic violence survivor, right. Like, wow. And I was like, that inspired me. It's like, holy crap, I want to run this marathon next year. And that was the genesis of my second life, let's put it that way. So when I went through, the surgery, when I came back, I started calling my therapy, or I started calling my recovery, my marathon training. So it wasn't like I was trying to recover from the tumor. That was my marathon training. So I, exactly to the year, I ran my first marathon, and I've run more than 100 since then. So I've done ultra marathons. I've run several 100-mile races. I've done over 12 Ironman triathlons. So I've done a lot of things. But now the key here is that this is something that I have learned. The one thing that I realized that, long story short, I survived the tumor, but neither my professional dreams nor my marriage survived. I wanted to I wanted to be a professor for life, and that didn't happen. So the one thing that I learned is that the world doesn't belong to the people that know the most, but the people that learn the fastest. And goes back to what you mentioned, is that in order for you to have that learning mentality, sometimes you have to realize that that's the only thing you can do. And at that time, I'm like, what am I going to do? I even considered going to becoming a greeter at Walmart, to tell you the truth, because I needed to find something. And so that's, so to me, it's having that learning mentality and realize that we got to start somewhere. Like I see, these big entrepreneurs, they didn't think that they were going to be there. They started somewhere. Right. If you think about, Mark Zuckerberg, he didn't think that, he didn't plan to build this incredible company. He just wanted to connect the people in his dorm. And for me, it's like, I just wanted to survive the first year. I want to recover from the marathon, and then all of a sudden, things start building up. So
dude, How do you follow that? So that's why I'm here, man. Just like I hope everybody just got goosebumps on that one. So that when you talk about resiliency, he's just such an inspiration, just such my admiration, respect for Luis off the charts. Thank you for sharing that. Great story. Go out and get Dory Clark's The Long Game, and you can read about his story and just, who goes to I know you don't like that word, to the C word, and who goes to, I'm going to do marathon training. It's not going to chemo or anything else, right? So you have an incredible story, Tina Marie. You're also a wonderful inspiration. You've shared a ton with we have a little coaching group here. Let's talk about resiliency. If you reflect back on like your career, your family, your kids, we've got Jackie right here. Hey, Jackie, her wife's right on the other side. So you're a wonderful inspiration of resiliency. Looking back on like your career, what have been some of the things that have helped you get through like really tough times? How have you been resilient through your career?
Thank you so much. What I believe is that we as people are resilient, and we bring that resiliency to anything we do in life. And your career is just one thing. Mm-hmm. The resiliency in my life has been understanding that we grow up with certain blueprints. We think life is supposed to be a certain way. For me, I was programmed in a happy way with a great family that you get married and you stay the long game with someone, and that you have your career and you get your degrees and you have your kids and all that kind of stuff. And so the blueprint's all great, but when the blueprint blows up, blueprint blew up with a divorce. Blueprint blew up with my kids struggling through school in their adolescence, and being influenced by drugs and things that you try to protect your kids from, right? Blueprint blows up whenever you have a career and then you realize this isn't happiness. And so I became an entrepreneur, and then that's a struggle. It isn't all, roses, right? You grow through all this. But resiliency is whenever you can say, I do have a blueprint, and I'm aiming at that blueprint. But then when the blueprint blows up, who are you? And it's not about the blueprint. It's about who you are in it. And that you pull the good, you harvest the good. There's good in every tragedy. There will be something of gold and brilliance in everything that feels like utter pain. And so if you can be that person that harvests that and takes that in, and don't let the bitterness of the world or the pain of the world subdue you or hold you back or become you. I witnessed this lady on the plane the other day, and I have not witnessed a person like this. It was really odd to me to be in the presence of someone who was extremely judgmental. And the things that she was saying about other people on the plane, there was a baby crying. She's like, oh my God, can you believe they let you bring a baby on the plane? Like, I paid $600 for this ticket. Why do they let a mother bring a bread? And I'm like, I'm just looking at her like, wow, you're really thinking this way. And then start talking about other people. And it's interesting because I just blessed her, because I went, the bitterness of the world she let it in, and it's become her. So resiliency is becoming the strength of who you are and your character, and letting the pain and the hardships of life strengthen you and become a better version of you. No matter what comes in your way, you can surmount it. You are stronger. You have more fire in you. And the reason why the pain is here is not because it's going to do you in. It's because it's growing you and it's melding you into the steel that you are.
Man, dude, drop the mic. All right, I know we're cutting into time real quick.
Yeah.
Resiliency, any tips, advice, things that have gotten you through your career?
I think really briefly, to me, it's about learning from experiences and understanding that when you're in the moment, something can feel insurmountable. You move past it, and then storing that and remembering that, and then the next time you get to a similar situation, remembering that how this might feel in the moment, but I've actually surmounted something like that in the past, so I can do so again. So I think it's just all about, you can learn from those things, because I don't think that resiliency is something that is just an inherent feature in everybody. I think it has to be nurtured and grown, and a lot of that comes from reflecting on times when you have felt that way, you have been able to get past it, it wasn't the end of the world, and remembering that for the next time. So I think that, because I think if you don't do that, and also I think talking about failures and mistakes and things, I think when you normalize them and talk about them, then it helps other people realize like, oh, okay, I right now I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to get kicked out of school, or this is happening. And now I'm listening to somebody else who had a similar experience, and look where they are now. So it can help you see that, you know, the bigger world outside of how you might feel in that moment. So I think the more we can talk about hardships and mistakes and failures and missteps is really, really important.
So good. Okay, Franz.
Yeah.
Take us home, brother.
Well, you know, this is really so great what you guys say. I can only add one thing to it. You know, I've been playing water polo at top level in my youth.
Nice.
And the one thing that I learned is also related to it. It's never the last game. You can lose a very important game, but there's always a new game again.
Yeah.
So it's never the last chance, you know.
Yeah.
So that's basically the only thing I like to add. But I also want to come back to the shelf space principle, because in 7 minutes from now, this room, we have to remove from this room because someone else is coming in this room for Lewis. So that's also a shelf space principle example.
Right. Removing things. All right. So let's close it out. So man, you got to go back and replay this.
Yeah.
And I get a whole weekend of this. Like, it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm cheating right now. So, all right, we're going to close out, Damon, because we've got to run. Yeah. So I have one last question, super fast, about 15, 20 seconds. So we're here for Dory Clark. Dory Clark has been an offender on the program. She's a powerhouse, I think Wall Street best-selling author, multiple books. Your thoughts on Dory Clark? What are your thoughts? So we're here for like a weekend coaching session with Dory Clark. Your thoughts on Dory Clark, Louise?
I think that she's a force to be reckoned with, and I think that she is doing a lot of work in the world that has impacted a lot of people. And I am part of that group that I think that my business wouldn't be what it is now. Wouldn't be if she what I learned from attending the seminars that led her. Right. So kudos to her.
Priceless. Your thoughts real quick?
Dory is genuine, authentic, and approachable. And her success is repeatable, meaning that you can learn from people that are here to build that success in yourself. And I too wouldn't be where I am without being part of this amazing group. So thanks, Dory, for opening up for us.
Julia?
Oh gosh, yes, all of those things. And I think just someone who speaks in real practical terms and gives real practical advice, and it's not it's just tangible and tractable, and I always really appreciate that about her.
Excellent. Franz?
Well, she's extremely talented, but what I like, you know, with one remark, you can all of a sudden be 5 blocks down the road. I don't know how she does it, you know, but that's amazing.
Excellent. So, and Franz came across from the Netherlands to be here. So, Damon, we're going to close out, and so a couple people have a couple things to do here. So we're gonna run. So many takeaways. So many takeaways. Yes. The why. We've talked about the habits. We've talked about breaking it down in simple steps. We've talked about what are you pulling off your plate, or what are you throwing away in your closet before you replace it with something new. So, man, please go back and hit the replay button on this. This was just so. First off, how about a big round of applause for our esteemed panel of just amazing people here. So, Damon, I get to soak in all this weekend. And so thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you. And just as we like to close out, Damon, just, go out and be someone's inspiration, just like these 4, man. It was just such a blessing. I thank each and one of you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Love all you guys. And so, Damon, close us out, brother. Thanks for being with us today, Damon. So close us out, dude.
All right. Well, thanks to all of you for sitting down with Kurt and I. Yeah, the mic bounce. That mic bounce. Yeah, there's so many comments coming through here. But thanks to all of you for taking the time to sit with Kurt and I today, and man, just sharing your thoughts, because there's so much gold in here. I've got 2 pages of notes from this, and just going through the things, and it was resonating with the people out here. And thanks everyone for listening. We appreciate that you're here. Go back and rewind this thing, start from the beginning, because it's worth it to do it. And it's been a special event for us. And I just want to say thanks for being here week in and week out. And we will be back again next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.